Hi everyone, this is Cornell Warren with Home and Hosting. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are talking to Michelle Warner, and she's just going to be telling us a little bit about her lovely home and about some of the different projects that she's been working on. I invite you to come along with me. Let's find inspiration for health, hope, and hospitality. Hi Michelle, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So, how long have you guys been in this home now?
So it has been about a year and a few months. So
Okay.
Yeah. We've actually bought the house almost 2 years ago, but we haven't lived in it until about a year and a few months.
Oh, so it took you almost a year to do...
Well, it took us probably many months
Okay.
to do some of the projects.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what projects you did.
The house was already beautiful, but we just wanted to kind of, modernize it a little bit. So there were some cherry shelving and ceiling that we liked. It was pretty, and my grandmother would just be so sad that I wanted to do something with them, but I just felt like, it maybe wasn't as contemporary as we wanted, so we painted that. Originally, I was thinking I wanted to do white, but my great friend who was our designer, she was like, no, you need to do like this dark gray, and so we tried it, and it turned out well. So
Yeah, it's beautiful.
thank you.
So what other projects did you do? You painted?
So we did that, and then we put stone on the fireplace instead of just having it be, the wood, just to warm it up a bit. And then
really cool.
We painted the island that we're sitting at. That it was wood, and so we just kind of brought it together with the paint. And then painted my husband's office the same color, so it was also cherry. And did some things in our bathroom, painting, mostly just painting and updating.
Okay.
And then the basement we just totally gutted. So
Okay. Was that the biggest part of the project?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Very cool.
that was a big
And what were some of the things that you felt like had to be in, or things that you didn't want to give up, or things that you specifically thought you needed?
Well, I think in terms of this floor, the main floor, we just wanted it to feel really warm and inviting, and not at all stuffy, and just felt. So that was a big thing for us, was to kind of make it feel livable. I didn't want my girls to feel. I tell them all the time, like when they make a spill or something, I'm just like, this is not a museum. It's totally, it's fine. So I want it to feel livable, but also pretty.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So your kids are elementary school age,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is an interesting time
Yes.
with little kiddies
Yeah.
and trying to keep things nice. But I was talking to one lady in our Bible study, and she said that her kids, when they were, adults, they came to her one day and said, Mom, when we were little, we thought it was a sin to spill.
Oh.
Because that's how extremely she would have reacted.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you who it was,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's just, we can overreact about that stuff
Yeah, for
sometimes,
sure.
so.
And I mean, I have to catch myself, like we refinished our wood floors, and
And they are beautiful.
well, thank you. They turned out really nice, but they'll get little scratches on them from the girls, like with their strollers or different things, and I'm like, ah! But I'm like, it's not a museum, it's okay.
Yes.
So it's just a thing, and it can be easily fixed. So.
Yeah, yeah, and their childhood experience is more important than
Exactly.
having the house clean for a day or two.
Yes,
here and there,
exactly.
so.
Like for instance, we have this entryway that is very open, and when we bought the house, they had a really pretty table with a big centerpiece and flowers. And the other day, someone came to our house that hadn't been here before, and they said something like, "So what are you gonna do in that big entryway there?" And I was like, oh, it's actually the place for gymnastics, and the girls dance with their dad there, and and so it just is funny, because maybe someday we will put something more decorative there, but right now it's just a place for them to have a space to do cartwheels and different things like that.
Yeah, that's special.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that extra little mini ballroom.
Exactly. With
Yeah.
no mirrors.
Yeah. So what is your favorite season to decorate for?
Oh, I would probably say Christmas, but I do love fall. So I hadn't decorated for fall in this house yet because last year around this time they were still finishing all of the renovations. So
Okay.
I just was like, my head was exploding with everything going on, and I just couldn't imagine adding more to the already chaos. So anyway, this year I decorated early, like right when, you know, like September. I got all my pumpkins out and everything just because I was like, oh, I kind of want to see what I have and what do I need to get for this house, and so that's been fun to do for sure.
So tell me a little bit about Texting the Truth, which is your project, your blog project.
Yeah. So I think it was 3 years now or 4 years. I've lost track on the time, but so before then, one of my best friends from college, she lives actually in Idaho, and so we have kind of like lived life very similar in our chapters of life, and so we got married at the same year, we had our first babies the same month.
Oh, wow.
And so we've just, you know, kind of shared stories and like texted each other like, I'm freaking out about this, or, you know, like this situation in my marriage is, you know, driving me crazy, or, you know, like different things.
Totally.
And it's just been a real encouragement. And so then we talked about like, wouldn't it be cool if we can start like a blog that would be like these conversations, just real, you know, and it would just be easier to read because, you know, moms don't have tons of time to just read like a whole long thing. So it could just be a quick thing. So that's how it started. And then several of my friends, I was actually in a mom's group called MOPS, and they were interested in doing it with me. And then we have some people, actually one girl is on my blog that I've never even met her on my team.
Oh, wow.
She lives in, we put a thing out, you know, about finding anyone who wanted to write, and she did. I've never met her face to face. I feel like I know her very well and pray with her. We pray every Friday on Google Hangouts, and we type our prayers because we don't want to see each other at 6 a.m. But yeah, and so like we pray together and know each other really well, but I haven't even met her. So.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so it's been fun. It's been a fun project to do. The subtitle is called Real Moms, Real Grace, because it's just like, that's what we want it to be about. You know, just like real grace for each other. You know, moms too much are like judging each other and being judgmental about, you know, all the things. And we just want it to be a safe place to share what's really going on. So.
And a lot of that too is pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yeah, totally.
That isn't necessary.
No, it's not.
And actually no one is even thinking about whether we're doing, you know, oh, is our yard perfectly trimmed, or is our laundry folded every other day or whatever. And
I find too that really most moms are very gracious, because we're all, if we own our stuff, we're just like, hey, I don't have it together, you know, we don't have it together, great, let's just, you know, we'll all just agree on that.
Yeah, I think there used to be a cultural thing where people would, you know, make kind of snide remarks, like, oh, your shoes aren't polished. Like, I haven't polished my shoes in 5 years.
Or like the time when I went to my MOPS group and I came in my slippers, so that was good. I didn't look down getting out of the car with my oldest was probably a year and a half, first child, and it, you know, it was just trying to get out the door, and I looked down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I never cleaned my slippers. But you know,
own it.
Yeah,
own it.
I owned it, and it was fine.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that is really special. So what have been some good things that you've seen come out of that project, out of Texting the Truth?
Many. I would say probably the best thing that our whole team would agree on is that, like, we feel once we work through a project, like, once we work through an issue, like let's say tantrums. You know, I text back and forth, but before we even start the whole thing, you know, we get on Google Drive and on Docs, and we kind of start just putting some thoughts out there. Like, here are my thoughts on tantrums, and then we try to find the truth, because the point is like finding some sort of a truth that is like deeper than just like, okay, my child's having tantrums. Like, what's underneath that? What are maybe you overreacting to? What maybe is your child needing? You know, that kind of stuff. So once we work through it together, it's really a really sweet experience, because we feel like, oh my gosh, like we just kind of gave ourselves counseling, you know, like by working through some deeper stuff and getting to a good place on it. And then, you know, then we put it out there, and it's encouraging to see, like, if, you know, moms are like, oh my gosh, you know, that we're dealing with the same thing or whatever, and it just feels like a camaraderie of, you know, working through it together. And I would say too, though, usually if not always, the blog team is really like, we have no idea. Like we don't know like what the, answer or the solution to this situation is, but let's text it out together and let's kind of just work it out,
Yeah.
and we're not at all kind of saying like, our posture is not like, oh, we figured this out, so now let us give you all of our wisdom. It's like, hey, we're in this together. We don't actually know what we're doing, but let's work it out, together, and let's
Yeah.
process it together. So,
Are there some resources that you have found helpful as you work through some of the stuff?
yeah, I mean, we have a resource page on our blog
Okay, cool.
that we kind of like, these are our favorite products and, kind of the things that are go-tos on parenting books. But really, every time we try to go to just the Bible and, get some sort of a scripture basis of like what we're talking about. So it's
Yeah.
not just like our truth, but it's God's truth.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it turns out truth isn't just for each person to figure out on their own.
Exactly, thankfully.
Yeah, that is, I know.
Yeah.
Do you have any new projects coming up that you are excited about?
Well, that's a good question. I think we're all kind of in this weird, our blog team is in a weird season with COVID.
I think the whole world is in a weird
Exactly,
season.
exactly. So like, we're coming off of our kids all home, and it took all I had to just, help my girls with remote learning. So then to have any capacity to write, I just didn't have it.
No.
I wrote a little bit, but I find with my writing that like I have to have space in my head
Totally.
and time to process things and to be creative. And so if I am like always under the gun, I don't ever have that time.
Or if there are interruptions. I
Exactly.
think that's the hardest for me
Right.
because even we did remote learning
Yeah.
in the spring. Fortunately, we didn't have to do it in the fall, but
Yeah.
it just seemed like I would be helping the whole day, and I had time, I
Yeah.
felt, but I couldn't put anything in that time
Right.
because it was just every
Yes.
5 minutes I had
Yes.
to,
Right.
jump in a little bit
Yeah.
and then wait, jump in a little bit, wait.
Totally.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
It was really challenging.
Yeah, it was really hard for me, and I'm sure that you maybe felt the same way, but I think we talked as a blog team, like, just like one day, we were living our lives, like had the things that we were doing, and then all of a sudden it was just like interrupted, and
Yes.
we kind of had to put all those projects kind of aside and just focus all on kids. And in some ways it was, a very sweet and special time that we'll always look back on. But in some ways it was deeply frustrating,
Right.
because you're like, I just want to feel like I could do, some of my projects or,
Right.
things, but
Yeah, please, I want my life
yeah,
back.
yeah. So it has been really sweet season for my girls to be back in
Yeah.
school and me to get, like, honestly, I feel like what I'm kind of focusing on this fall is just organizing my house because, with moving and renovating, there were some things that I just was like, I'm just going to put this in that room and I will deal with it later, or this
Yeah.
closet, and so
Just
now
close the door.
Yeah. So now I'm going like closet by closet and like really getting it
Smart.
a system that works for me. So
Yeah.
I still have my office, which is like totally indicative of like a mom, right? Because it's the one room that's not done yet, and it's my office. So I still haven't
My
finished
office is
that.
done, and then I covered it with Legos.
Oh yes, that's indicative of a mom as well. So.
Did you guys do a COVID project? I know a lot of people did home renovations and
Oh, we
random
did.
projects,
I
but you
tried.
had just come out of a big project.
Yes.
I know there's something going on outside.
Yes, I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, we basically just did little things, and hung
Okay.
pictures.
Okay.
So no, like, really, big project. I don't think
Yeah.
I had. I just didn't have the creative energy. I think 'cause I was giving it all to like teach my kids.
Totally.
But yes, we are doing a big project in our backyard. So.
Yeah, what are you guys doing?
So we are putting in a pool. So,
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
So glad we're friends.
Yes, come on over. So it's kind of a funny story because in January, my husband really has wanted to put in a pool, and I'm good with it, but it's never been something that I've been like, oh, I really want to have a pool.
Okay.
So he was like, let's just meet with this guy, and just see his design. If we're like, wow, then we can like go forward. I'm like, oh, okay. So we met with him in January, and he showed us the plan, and it was really cool. But I just wasn't ready. Well, I had found out that if we started, then or in February or whatever, we wouldn't be done for this past summer. And so it kind of was like, well, we have time anyway, because if we're not even going to be done, like why?
Because then you can use the yard still.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, let's just put it on hold. And so we agreed to put it on hold for a little while, but we still, you know, had the plan. And then COVID hit. And it was actually kind of an interesting time because we were, that weekend that things like shut down, we were in Nashville for a wedding. So it was like the last wedding that's ever happened there. Whoops. But I mean, it was one of those like, do we go, do we not go? But like, it was like all our extended family. And you know, we tried to be as safe and smart as we could. But anyway, so we were already south is my point. So we just decided, because it was my daughter's spring break that next weekend, just to keep going south. So we went and found a house on the beach on a private island, so that, because my husband thankfully thinks through all these details, so he was like, well, let's get something on a private island with a pool so that even if the beach is shut down, like the private beach will not shut down. So smart. So we did that, and so we had this pool there, and all week, actually we were there 2 weeks. The guys, the dads would like, you know, do their work, and then like at lunch they'd come out and swim with the kids. And so my husband just really enjoyed having that as a way to connect with the kids. Yeah. So we got home and Jared, my husband, was like, let's think about putting the pool in again. So we called the pool guy, and he already was getting like ridiculous calls. I mean, really? Have you heard? It's insane.
I know contractors have been busier than ever.
Like pools are like 2-year waits.
Really?
It's insane. Yes.
So people just don't want to deal with it.
I think because they're like, we just want everything at our house, you know, because we don't know what is going to happen.
Yeah, we'll have to wear a mask
I think it gave people, exactly. And it gave people time, I think, to be home in their house, to like have time to dream up projects, you know?
Yeah.
So thankfully, like God had just gone before us on that, because we already had all the work, you know, the project like already going. So we just were like, yeah, we want to start it. And so we were already like in the queue. Perfect. So anyway, it's worked out. It's been a little longer of a project than we would have hoped, but hopefully in the next few weeks it'll be done. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How cool. We'll have to go take a look at it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. It's been really great talking with you.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Hey, let us know that you like this video. So please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And I wanted to let you know that I have Michelle's blog, Texting the Truth, linked in the bio. And if you want to see more photos of her lovely home, go ahead and visit homeandhosting.com. If you're in the middle of a renovation project, comment Reno below.
I know, so unfair.
I was gonna say, I encourage you to like this video. That was not gonna work. Okay.
I do love Christmas. I mean, last year we had like a open house, kind of like a, you know, okay, we're finally in our house, all the renovations are done, we're gonna have a party. And so I wanted to get like everything just how I wanted it. So I, you know, went to so many stores trying to find the right thing. I do love to bargain shop, so I couldn't just like go to Pottery Barn or something and buy that really expensive whatever. Right, like I had to like find something that looked just as good but maybe not as pricey. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was fun to do. It was stressful though too. But so I'm excited to go back to decorate this year for Christmas, because now at least I kind of like already have all the stuff and I can kind of play with, you know, how to decorate.
I forget, last year, did you have a real tree?
No, we have a great find. So
and it's giant.
Yes, in our other house we had tall ceilings too, and my mom and I were at a garage sale and we found this 12-foot tree for $12. I actually think it was 15 and I talked him down to 12. And hilarious. So it is annoying, I will say though, because it's branch by branch, you know? Okay. And it's not lit. So it's a whole day, if not more, project. And I mean, my husband and I have it down to a science now because we've had it probably for 7 years. And so we like, you know, get the ladders, and it's a whole entire process of making this, you know, and every year we're like, all right, we're gonna get a new tree because this is such a pain. Yeah. But then we look, it's like, I was at Costco the other day and it's $1,000. I'm like, unreal. I mean, I have a $12 tree. I just have a hard time, like, you know, so yeah, we laugh about that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I found one on Facebook Marketplace last year. Yeah. Because we did a big real tree. Okay. Which was fun, but then the disposal like almost burned our house down. Oh yeah. So then we did an artificial one, and it is pre-lit, but I'm not, it's like finicky. So we end up having to add lights anyway. Right, exactly. But yeah, decorating for Christmas. Yeah, I don't know if I could ever do the live tree thing, because I've heard people have like spiders from it and stuff. And yeah, I mean, you know, a live tree.
Live, like you
it's still living, like in a.
No, but I mean like one that they cut down and stuff.
Yeah.
like I've heard some horror stories.
Really?
I'm like, I just
I
can't.
mean, they shed
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah.
That's the one thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know people swear by it. People have very strong opinions about live or not live.
Yeah, I do both.
Yeah. That's
I do one in the entryway that's
All right.
really tall.
Yeah.
And then one in the living room that's real.
Okay.
That worked out well. I like that.
Yeah. Maybe I should put one in my entryway instead of a gymnastics area this year. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're inspiring